The strawberries taste like strawberries. The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Snozberries? Who ever heard of a snozberry?
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams. Come on.
This is the Music Makers Podcast, where I read things out loud to you and then offer my unqualified opinions on them. This post is called Create by Leo Babauta. Men must live and create, live to the point of tears. Albert Camus. It's amazing how many people I talk to who tell me they want to create a new blog, write a book, start a business, change careers, make something new. But they keep putting it off. Does that sound familiar? You've been wanting to do something different, but you don't have the time or maybe the energy right now. A million things on your to-do list, a schedule packed full, meetings that keep coming up. You'll get to your big thing, but later. There's all the time in the world to do it later, right? That time will never come, not if you don't create that time yourself. Seize the bull by the horns, grasp it tenaciously, never let it go. Time has a habit of trampling over us, so softly we don't even notice it, but so powerfully we become crushed over the course of weeks and years. I had 2 jobs, 6 kids, and marathon training going on when I created Zen Habits. There was no time, but I put up a single blog post. The next day I did 2 posts, even though I had no time. That month I did about 30 posts, not all are still online, despite there being no time. I had no time, so I created it. Time is often said to be our most limited resource, but it's not true. We can create time. It takes sheer force of will to do it, but it can be created. Time doesn't fall into your lap. It isn't handed to you by a kindly old gentleman. You must create it, taking from the world the raw materials you need and shaping it with your bare, dirty, blistered hands, pushing the clay into form from its shapeless, muddy glob. I had no time to create Zen Habits, and yet today it stands, alive and breathing with pattering heart. I created the time, taking some from television watching, some from meetings, some from saying no to endless requests on my time by coworkers and well-meaning friends. Some from other important projects that I put off. I put off important things to create time for the most important thing. I said no to others I cared about to say yes to the thing I needed to make. Say no to everything else, put off what can be held at bay for the time being, and create time for what is necessary. You have the power to create time and the will to create. Don't squander it, my friend. I used to be that person, the one who says, oh yeah, I'm about to start something, or always thought, yeah, I've got this great idea and I'm going to start it soon. Or I'm going to start working out soon. But somehow it just kept stretching before me and I never actually started doing the things that I actually wanted to do. Had all these great ideas, but I wasn't actually executing or trying to do anything. Two of my favorite things he says here in this article. There's all the time in the world to do it later, right? That time will never come, not if you don't create that time yourself. And then the other one is, time has a habit of trampling over us so softly we don't even notice it, but so powerfully we become crushed over the course of weeks and years. That has definitely been true for me. It's easy to give up a day. It's easy to give up an evening and say, no, I'm just not going to do it tonight. Suddenly, that turns into months, turns into years, and you haven't done it. And you look at your project backlog and think, man, I'm not making any progress. This podcast is one of the things that I decided finally, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to start. And you know what? It doesn't take up that much time. It definitely takes up time, but I still have a full-time job and friends and family, and I've just found that I have to maybe not watch as much Veep or not spend so much time trolling Twitter. It's amazing how much time you can actually have if you start looking for it. And this thing that we're talking about that you can't find the time to do, it doesn't have to be a startup, it doesn't have to be a blog, it doesn't have to be something super technical or some way you're trying to make money. It could be finally building that deck or buying that classic car that you want to restore. You definitely have time. We all have time. One of the great little mind hacks that's worked for me is instead of saying, I don't have time to do that thing, I say, that thing is not a priority to me. That makes it hurt a lot more, right? It's easy to say, I don't have time to go to the gym. It's hard to say, my health is not a priority to me. Even if all you do today is start making that one little mental switch, so instead of saying, I don't have time, you say, X thing is not important to me. After a while, that's going to start to get to you because you're going to be a house divided. You're going to say, this thing I'm going to do someday is super important. But then on the other hand, you're going to say, this thing is not important enough to me to find time to do it. And I bet eventually that gets to you. And you decide, screw it, I'm going to make the time. It's important to me. I'm going to stop watching so much Netflix and I'm actually going to do this thing that I've always wanted to do and always said I'm going to do it someday. Make today that day. You can see the show notes for this episode or leave a comment by going to musicmakers.fm/6. If you want, you can send me an email at aaron@musicmakers.fm or find me on Twitter @musicmakersfm. And if you like this show, please subscribe in iTunes and leave a review by going to musicmakers.fm/review.